girls. I'm Jacob, 1/4 of Melatonin Girls, and this is Beyond Sound with Dogness. Oh, I should take my glasses off so I don't look like a nerd.
You're a fucking nerd.
Poindexter.
Well, the song Good Graces was written at kind of a turning point in the band. We lost a pretty key element to our previous group.
He that sported the leather jacket.
And because of that, we've been kind of struggling to find our footing. And we've been like sitting there tracking like for months on end and getting distracted with different projects, and just after enough of hearing people say that they're gonna be able to do things for us and then having it not follow through, we kind of just realized we're the only people who are gonna carry our own weight. So because of that, we started writing a song, getting really serious about it. After finding a new headspace, kind of realized that we can do everything from beginning to end because we'd experienced it all, we'd watched other people do it, and we'd seen that it's possible for normal human beings to be able to do this stuff. I figured we're kind of normal-ish human beings, so we decided to make this song, and the words are kind of about just that. The lyrics were written, it's the world that can't. The song it's called Good Graces, so there's a bit of a bit of an implied sarcasm to the line. It's the world that can't was sort of the viewpoint that we had had prior to doing this song, and afterwards we had realized what our perspective on that line was. Maybe I should start going through the words. I'm a white guy. Maybe you're a white guy. We're all looking for paper, but it's there. Decided to put that line at the beginning. One, kind of a bit of shock value. We live in sort of a time where, it's cool to be not white, even at the expense of your own true identity. People want to hide the fact that they're white, and I find that as a white person, it's not my place to speak, but I find that to be a bit more offensive than just owning up to what you are and just realizing where you're at. So the line, I'm a white guy just looking for paper, kind of sets up the context in a first world. So kind of the world that can't. In most other countries, the world really can't. It's true that the world can't. There are natural disasters, there's people dying, people starving. It's a little obscured, purposefully obscured in the song. I can't help myself, I can't help myself. Kind of just depends on which end you lie on, because the song is all about perspective. You can interpret it whichever way you want. This is just my interpretation, and I want to make that clear. The artist's interpretation is not any more valuable than the listener's interpretation. That's kind of what the beauty of art is. So, again, perspective, it's kind of implying we're not worthy of the help. We're not here for your help. We're here for something else. We obviously don't have enough to help ourselves. We're looking for something, but we're not looking for anything from the obvious. This line, the haze, is kind of a thing that's sort of a state of delusion, and a pipe dream could also be a state of delusion. But in this case, the pipe dreams are what's breaking the haze, such as, your dreams or your big desires or whatever those dreams are that poke their head and reveal a bit of your truth and a bit of what you're denying. So it's essentially one of us taking flight is referring to taking off in a career, in your dreams, and it can happen at any time. I guess the line is kind of a discussion of asking for those to happen, knowing that they can happen at any time, and just begging for the universe, which is kind of composed of nothing but stardust, at least as far as we're aware of, and kind of believing that this dumb cluster of molecules and atoms can hold the power to change the lives of something as insignificant as us. And then it's the world that can't. The world can't do it. It's not that I can't do it, it's the world that can't. Boom. So whether or not you choose to believe that line is on you.
Shit!
Again, I kind of view it from more of a sarcastic standpoint, but hey, you know, maybe shit sucks, you know, I'm a white guy, again, that's the context. For the white man, the world is our oyster. So how could the world not be able to satisfy your needs? Yeah, so I guess the idea of this song is to sort of help enlighten the listener, at least it helped in the same way that I'd hope for the song to help enlighten the listener for the same way it helped enlighten us while trying to write it and sort of think about why we're coming to these ideas. And it's sort of, we want to use it to kind of reveal the scope of where you're listening, if you choose to reflect on it at least. It's also meant just to be enjoyed as a song. It's a song for the hoes. Maybe we shouldn't put that in. You're all the hoes. Every single one of you, including us. It's kind of, yeah, it's about the scope at which you want to perceive that, which kind of reveals what your view on the world is. Do you really believe that the world can't? Or do you believe that the world doesn't want you to, the world's against you? The world is not your friend, so you kind of have to, I think that you have to learn how to work around all of the obstacles it puts in your way. You just learn what those obstacles are, and you learn that none of them ever make sense, so you just gotta find your way to stay grounded. Anyway, after school special vibes. I'm gonna relate this to our situation, to why we wrote it and why we wanted to include those lines. So taking flight was kind of our way of describing almost like the ability to become an overnight sensation. Just taking off and being able to achieve the things that you set out to do. And the second line is some of us would green light missing flights. So there are people out there, their management, their friends, family, that will set you down the wrong paths, and they will eventually come to see that you're sent down those wrong paths, and they will be the ones who are also asking, why did you do this to me? But taking flight is basically accomplishing what you're setting out to do by means of miracle. No one's really in control. Yeah. I don't know if any of this is making sense. It just sounds like fucking scribblings of a madman. A bit of the inspiration for this came from the parable of the drowning man, story of a man stuck on his rooftop anticipating a flood. So what happens is, guy comes in with his truck, offers to save him. He says, no thank you, I'm waiting for God to save me. Water rises higher. Man comes on a boat, offers to take him away. He says, no thank you, waiting for God to save me. And then finally, on his last minutes, a helicopter arrives, offers to rescue him. He says, no, God will save me. And the man dies in the flood. He gets to heaven and he speaks to God and says, God, why didn't you save me? And God says, I sent you a truck, a boat, and a helicopter. I think it sort of follows along the same lines. You're waiting for the obvious miracle while refusing to acknowledge all of the little miracles that we encounter all the time. So I guess the second verse is kind of one of the more sort of the tables flip a bit. Fried eyes in search of the suspects, I can't help myself. Searching for where to aim the blame. Chasing wind for the drift to send me along to somewhere else. Kind of implies we're tired of looking, let's get out of this situation. Like just finding the next flight out of here. Chasing that miracle that's gonna send us to the place that we think that we so desperately need to be. Next line is we've been in paradise this whole time, which follows along the lines of the parable. We've been in the place that we want to be. There's no place better than where we are now. It could make a case for the people not making it as great as it could.
Shit!
But in terms of what we actually need to survive and to have a long, happy life, all the tools are there. So it's been all along that we've been in paradise, but we're not if you're still thinking that the world can't. This is Jacob Mandel from Melatonin Girls, and this has been Sound Theory.
Do I look like...
Oh, it's Beyond Sound.
Oh, there you go. Here, I'll get one take with the correct title. This is Jacob from Melatonin Girls, and Thank you for joining us on Beyond Sound. Thanks for watching.